Hello everyone, welcome once again to our channel A.O.S Group. Today we want to actually continue with our talk with A.O.S Q&A sessions. But before then, please kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit on the notification bar to get notified anytime we drop a content, and like and share this video with your friends and with your family. So today we want to actually continue with the Q&A session as we do always have every day by 3 p.m. West African time and 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So the question 231 is our focus for today, and the question states is actually stated thus. It states that what are the travel procedures from South Africa to Canada? And the question was asked by Adeola Adeyeye from South Africa. And these questions are always extracted from our JAPA to Canada in 2023 webinar Q&A session that we had December 2022. So thank you, Mr. Adeola, for asking that wonderful question. When it comes to travel procedures, there are quite a lot of procedures that relate to people traveling or travelers moving from one country to another. And I would say that maybe perhaps you were asking about the migration process together with the travel procedures. So I think I would respond to two of them simultaneously. Firstly, if you want to migrate from South Africa to Canada, just like all other nationalities, you have some procedures you have to adhere to. And likewise, if you have done processing your migration and you now want to move and land in Canada, there are also some procedures you have to follow based on the procedure set by IRCC for the Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, and also CBSA, the Canadian Border Service Agency, CBSA Canada. So to start with, I'll start with the migration processes. If you want to migrate to Canada, be it you want to migrate as a student under the international student visa, which is also known as the study permit, or the work permit as a temporary resident or a temporary skilled worker, or if you want to go through the permanent residency program, which is for skilled workers and self-employed persons, I'll state that firstly, you need to get a visa. You understand? And when I'm talking about getting a visa, I'm also talking about either getting a visa or getting a permit, a study permit or a work permit, or a temporary resident visa or a permanent resident visa. And how are you going to get that? It's very simple. If you are not part of the company, if you are not part of the nationalities that just require ETA, which is the electronic travel authorization, then you would need a visa. And if you want to process your visa, for people that are going through the international student route, you need to get your admission. You need to also have been enrolled in a particular school. And after enrollment, then you now need to actually process your study permit. If you are going under the work permit, then definitely you need to have a job offer, a valid job offer from a Canadian employer already. And it is from that job offer, be it the one that has LMIA, Labor Market Impact Assessment, or the one that doesn't have LMIA, any which one, once you get the job offer, then the employer together with you will now actually file for an open work permit or a restricted specific work permit, an employer specific work permit. Now, lastly, if you are going through the permanent residency route, then definitely you need to process a particular program, be it the Express Entry, the Provincial Nominee Program, the Agri-Food Pilot Program, be it any of those programs or the other ones we have. Then in processing your program, you need to actually work on various ways. Take, for instance, you need to send your credentials to Canada if you are to write internationally recognized language tests like IELTS or TEF Canada or TCF Canada. And after that, you will now apply using your age and your years of experience and your adaptability factors to apply for any of those programs. It is only after you have now applied that is when the Canadian immigration body would now kind of invite you. And once they invite you through the invitation to apply, the ITA, or once they send you a notification of interest through their provincial nominee programs, the NOI, then that is when you will now be allowed to now fully apply for the visa. And once you apply for the visa and you get the visa, that is when the next step, which is the travel procedures, will now take effect. So let's assume that you have gotten your visa. How would you actually relocate to Canada? Definitely, even before you get your visa, you could have obtained a valid international passport. It is that valid international passport you will use not only to write IELTS, not only to, you understand, get your visa, but also to travel to Canada as, you understand, a nationality moving from one country to another. And please note, your international passport, as at the time you got your visa and you want to actually depart from your country to Canada, your visa and your passport, at least it has to have 6 months. It has to be at least 6 months valid beyond your planned date of departure to Canada. So that's the very first thing you need, is very first requirement for your travel. The second requirement for your travel procedure is that you need to obtain, as I said, either a visa or an ETA. If you are from a country that actually requires visa, then you would get the permanent visa we talked about, permanent residency visa or temporary residency visa. Or if you are maybe from the United States of America or from all other countries that doesn't require visa to enter Canada, you may just get the electronic travel authorization, which is the ETA, to enter Canada. Now, apart from that, you would need to complete a pre-arrival test. If, for instance, you are coming from a country that is affected with the COVID-19 as of now, you understand, you may need to actually get the COVID-19 molecular test, or to even show a proof of vaccination that you have been vaccinated of COVID-19. Do you understand? Before your arrival. And as soon as you are getting into Canada, you would have to definitely go through the immigration portal. You need to go through the immigration officers. So you need to be cleared to actually arrive Canada. You need to be cleared to um, at the border to show that you are not a threat to Canada, either as a threat for health issues, to show that you don't have any health problems, you don't have any health concerns. And if you actually worked on your visa very well, or your ETA, you could have shown proof of your medical report. Do you understand? To show that yes, you have been tested by your own country and you have no chronic illnesses or diseases that would affect the what they call it, the economy of Canada. Likewise, you would have to show that you have no criminal records, you are actually admissible to Canada, and to show that, you have to use your police clearance or police character certificate. That certificate would ensure that you are not a threat to Canadians, and you are not a threat to also their properties. Now, after that, you need to follow through some health and safety measures. And these health and safety measures might include you wearing a mask in the public spaces, even though that is not mostly the case right now. You may need to also practice some health guidelines or health practices in Canada. You understand? And also, you need to check for all other additional requirements. If, for instance, the province you are going to or the territory you are going to has strict requirements that you have to adhere to and restrictions, then you have to know about it so that you don't get deported from Canada as soon as you even actually land. Likewise, if you are going to a school, then you need to know the requirements of that school, the admission requirements, the requirement of attendance as well in that school, to actually be seen as a student that is following the rules and regulations. Though, if you are going under the work permit, then you have to report to your employer. Do you understand? And in reporting to your employer, you have to go with your job offer letter, you have to go with your visa, your passport, and everything that relates to the requirement you submitted under your work permit. And lastly, if you are a permanent resident, then you would have to actually submit yourself to the Service Canada office. And that is where everything that relates to you in terms of getting your social insurance number, even students and workers also get that. You would also need to get your bank account sorted. You would also need to get virtually all things related to living in Canada, staying in Canada, and doing everything like living or working and studying in Canada. For instance, you may need to get your accommodation, you may need to get a car if you need it, if you can afford it. You may need to do everything that you understand a resident would do in order to settle well in Canada. So if you have further questions you'd like to ask as regards this, you can always check the Canadian government's website. That is cic.gc.ca or canada.ca. And you can also reach out to the airlines. For instance, you want to travel with for the most up-to-date information about the travel requirements and the restrictions. And for instance, airlines would always particularly talk about the kg of what they call the kg of baggages you must carry along. 23 kg for some flights and 46 kg for some flights. So you have to be particular about the kg based on what the airline that you are following actually permits, and all the guidelines as regards you actually relocating or moving to Canada. So I hope that answers the questions as regards the travel procedure from South Africa to Canada. There is no particular travel procedure from South Africa to Canada. It's quite similar with all other countries. It's the only thing that differentiates it is that if you are a country that needs visa, you have to get visa. But if you're a country that needs ETA, electronic travel authorization, then you have to go for that. So that being said, if you have any questions, you can drop it on the comment section of this video or on the live chat. If we don't have opportunity to take it today, we can actually take it another time and even set up, you understand, a Q&A session for it specifically. So thank you very much. Kindly subscribe to this YouTube channel. Hit on the notification bar to get notified anytime we drop a content, and like and share this video with your friends and your family. So thank you once again, and I do hope to see you in our next Q&A sessions. Bye for now.